Admiral Kate Morrison stood in the command center of Luna Station, staring at the massive screen that showed the entire solar system. Red dots blinked across the display, each one marking a place where human ships had been attacked in the past month. The attacks were getting worse, and they were getting closer to Earth. Captain Jake Sullivan walked up to her, carrying a datapad filled with the latest intelligence reports. His face looked tired and worried. He had been working around the clock, trying to make sense of the growing alien threat. "Admiral, we have a problem," Jake said, his voice quiet but urgent. "The aliens are talking to each other more than ever before. We've intercepted hundreds of messages in the past week." Kate turned to look at him. "What kind of messages?" "They're forming an alliance. The Vorthic Empire, the Zephyrian Collective, and the Nexus Hegemony are working together now. They all want to destroy humanity before we spread to more star systems." Kate felt a cold chill run down her spine. Each of these alien races was dangerous on their own. The Vorthic were large reptilian creatures with powerful warships and advanced weapons. The Zephyrians looked like giant insects and attacked in huge swarms that could overwhelm any defense. The Nexus beings were made of pure energy and could pass through most human shields like they were not even there. If all three were working together, humanity was in serious trouble. "There's something else," Jake continued, looking down at his datapad. "They keep mentioning something in their messages. Something they're afraid of." "What could possibly scare all three of those races?" Kate asked. "They call it the Phantom. Ship of Terra. They talk about it like it's some kind of ghost story, but they seem genuinely terrified." Commander Lisa Warren, the station's tactical expert, overheard the conversation and walked over. She was a small woman with sharp eyes and a brilliant mind for military strategy. "A phantom ship?" Lisa asked. "What exactly are they saying about it?" Jake scrolled through his datapad. "The messages are strange. Some describe it as a ship that appears from nowhere, destroys their vessels, and then vanishes without a trace. Others say it's crewed by the dead, or that it's a technological marvel beyond anything humans should be able to build." Lisa frowned. "That's impossible. I know every ship in the Terran Defense Fleet. We don't have anything like that." "I've checked and double-checked," Jake said. "There's no ship matching their descriptions in any of our records. No experimental vessels, no secret projects, nothing." Kate studied the reports on Jake's datapad. The alien messages were filled with fear and desperation. Words like Ghost of Terra and Phantom Death appeared over and over again. Some reports described weapons that fired from empty space, destroying entire squadrons before the aliens even knew they were under attack. "This has to be some kind of propaganda," Kate said finally. "Maybe they're trying to make us think we have some secret weapon, so we'll get overconfident." "I thought so too," Jake replied. "But look at these transmission logs. The aliens don't know we're listening. These are private military communications between their fleets. Why would they lie to each other about being afraid?" Lisa took the datapad and studied the reports more carefully. "The fear seems real," she admitted. "But how can we have a phantom ship that we don't know about?" Meanwhile, far from Luna Station, Ben Carter was having the strangest day of his salvage career. Ben made his living by flying to remote parts of space and collecting valuable metals and technology from old battlefields and abandoned stations. It was dangerous work, but it paid. Well, today he was working near the edge of the outer rim, in a region of space that was supposed to be completely empty. His sensors had detected unusual energy readings coming from inside a dense nebula. Nebulas were tricky places to work because they interfered with most scanning equipment, but they sometimes hid valuable salvage. Ben guided his small ship, Lucky Strike, deeper into the swirling clouds of gas and space dust. His instruments were going crazy, showing energy readings that made no sense. The numbers were off the charts, But when he looked out his window, he saw nothing but empty space. "Come on, baby," Ben muttered to his ship's computer. "Tell me what's out there." The computer beeped and displayed a three-dimensional map of the area. According to the sensors, there was something massive nearby, something the size of a battleship, maybe larger. But when Ben looked in that direction, he saw absolutely nothing. He tried different scanning frequencies, adjusted his instruments, and even turned his ship in a complete circle. The readings remained the same. Something huge was out there, but it was completely invisible to his eyes and to most of his equipment. Back on Luna Station, more reports were coming in every hour. Human colonies on the frontier were reporting strange incidents, ships that suddenly exploded for no apparent reason, alien raiders that fled in terror from empty space, distress calls that cut off in the middle of sentences, followed by complete silence. Kate Morrison called an emergency meeting with her senior staff. The conference room filled with officers from every branch of the Terran Defense Force. Everyone looked worried and confused. "Ladies and gentlemen," Kate began, "we're facing a crisis unlike anything in human history. 3 major alien powers are combining their forces to attack us. Our intelligence suggests they're planning something big, possibly an assault on Earth itself." The room erupted in concerned voices. Officers asked questions about fleet movements, defensive positions, and evacuation plans. Kate raised her hand for silence. "There's something else," she continued. "The aliens are afraid of something they call our phantom ship. They believe we have some kind of secret weapon that's been attacking their fleets." "Do we?" asked Admiral Roy Jackson, commander of the Fifth Fleet. "No," Kate replied firmly. "We've checked every database, every classified project, every experimental program. No such ship exists." Captain Danny Rodriguez of the UES Defiance spoke up. "What if it's not one of ours? What if it's something else entirely?" Lisa Warren shook her head. "The aliens specifically call it the Phantom Ship of Terra. They think it belongs to humanity." The meeting continued for hours, but no one could explain the mystery. The Phantom Ship was becoming a legend among both humans and aliens, but no one had ever actually seen it. As the officers filed out of the conference room, Kate remained behind, staring at the star charts on the wall. Somewhere out there, something was protecting humanity from alien attacks. Something that appeared and disappeared like a ghost, striking fear into the hearts of their enemies. But what was it? And why didn't humanity know about its own greatest weapon? The questions haunted Kate as she prepared for what she knew would be the most dangerous period in human history. The alien alliance was growing stronger every day, and soon they would make their move. Whatever the Phantom Ship was, Kate hoped it was real, because humanity was going to need all the help it could get. The alarm bells at Luna Station rang out across the command center like screaming metal birds. Red lights flashed everywhere as officers ran to their stations. Admiral Kate Morrison rushed from her office to find Captain Jake Sullivan already coordinating the emergency response. "What's happening?" Kate demanded. "Haven's Rest colony is under attack," Jake replied, his fingers flying over his control panel. "Massive Vorthic fleet just dropped out of hyperspace. At least 40 ships, maybe more." Kate felt her stomach drop. Haven's Rest was a mining colony on the outer edge of human space. It had a population of 50,000 civilians, including families with children. The colony's defenses were minimal, designed to handle pirates and raiders, not a full military assault. How long before they breached the colony's shields? Kate asked. At their current rate of fire, maybe 20 minutes. Jake answered grimly. Kate immediately activated the emergency communication system. "Admiral Jackson, report to the command center immediately. We need the Fifth Fleet moving now." "Admiral." Roy Jackson appeared on the main screen within seconds. He was aboard his flagship, the UES Titan, which was patrolling near the Jupiter system. Already received the distress call, Admiral. We're jumping to hyperspace in 5 minutes. How long to reach Haven's Rest? Kate asked. Roy's face was grim. 43 minutes at maximum speed. Kate did the math in her head. The colony would be destroyed long before help could arrive. She watched the tactical display as dozens of red dots surrounded the single blue dot that represented Haven's Rest. The Vorthic ships were pounding the colony's shields with everything they had. Sir, Jake called out, we're receiving battle. Reports from Captain Danny Rodriguez aboard the Defiance. His ship was on patrol near Haven's Rest when the attack began. Kate activated the communication channel. Captain Rodriguez appeared on screen, and Kate could see weapon fire flashing behind him through his bridge windows. Captain, what's your status? Kate asked. Not good, Admiral, Danny replied, his ship shaking from enemy fire. The Vorthic caught. Used completely by surprise. We've got 7 human ships against their 40. They're using some kind of new weapon that cuts right through our shields. Kate watched the tactical display with growing horror. The blue dots representing human ships were disappearing one by one. The colony's shields were failing faster than expected. In less than 10 minutes, Haven's Rest would be defenseless. Danny, you need to pull back, Kate ordered. Don't throw away your ships for nothing. No, sir, Danny replied firmly. There are children down there. We're not abandoning them. Kate understood his choice, but she also knew it was suicide. 7 human. Ships could not stop 40 Vorthic vessels. She was about to watch an entire colony die, and there was nothing she could do about it. Then something impossible happened. On the tactical display, one of the Vorthic ships suddenly exploded. Kate stared at the screen in confusion. The explosion was massive, tearing the alien vessel completely apart, but there was no indication of what had caused it. Danny, what just happened out there? Kate asked. I have no idea, Admiral, Danny replied, his voice filled with confusion. One of their ships just exploded for no reason. Wait. There's another one. A second Vorthic ship erupted in flames. Then a third. The alien formation began to break apart as ships tried to avoid whatever was destroying them. But the humans couldn't see anything attacking the aliens. Jake was frantically checking his instruments. Admiral, our sensors aren't detecting any new ships in the system, but something is definitely out there. On screen, Captain Rodriguez looked amazed and terrified at the same time. Admiral, you're not going to believe this. I'm watching weapon. Fire come from empty space. Brilliant blue beams are cutting through the Vorthic ships, like they're made of paper, but I can't see what's firing them. Kate stared at the tactical display. More Vorthic ships were exploding every few seconds. The alien fleet was in complete chaos, with ships flying in all directions, trying to escape an enemy they could not see. The communication system crackled with alien voices speaking in the harsh Vorthic language. Jake quickly activated the translation. System, the Phantom ship of Terra. The alien voices screamed. It's here. It's destroying us. All ships retreat. The ghost of Terra has found us. We cannot fight what we cannot see. Flee. Kate watched in amazement as the Vorthic fleet, which had been winning the battle just minutes before, began jumping to hyperspace as fast as they could. More than half of their ships had been destroyed by an enemy that appeared to be completely invisible. Within 10 minutes, the space around Haven's Rest was clear of alien ships. The colony was saved, but no one understood how. Danny, do you see? Anything out there now? Kate asked. Captain Rodriguez slowly shook his head. Nothing, Admiral. Whatever saved us has vanished. Our sensors show only debris from the Vorthic ships and empty space. Kate turned to Jake. Run every scan we have. Check for heat signatures, energy readings, gravitational anomalies, anything. Jake worked furiously at his controls for several minutes before looking up with a puzzled expression. Nothing, Admiral. If there's a ship out there, it's using technology beyond anything we understand. The communication channel buzzed with reports from the other surviving human ships. Every captain told the same story. They had watched weapon. Fire come from empty space, destroying alien ships with incredible precision and power. But none of them had seen the ship doing the firing. Admiral Roy Jackson's voice came over the communication system. Admiral Morrison, we're dropping out of hyperspace at Haven's Rest now. What's the situation? The Vorthic fleet has been destroyed or driven off, Kate replied. The colony is safe. Destroyed by what? Our ships couldn't have done that much. Damage. Kate paused before answering. We don't know, Roy. Something attacked the aliens, but we can't see what it was. When Admiral Jackson's fleet arrived at Haven's Rest, they found a battlefield filled with the wreckage of Vorthic ships. 40 alien vessels had been reduced to twisted metal and floating debris. The human ships had suffered damage, but all of them were still operational. Captain Rodriguez met with Admiral Jackson aboard the Titan to give his report. His hands were still shaking as he described what he had witnessed. It was like watching ghosts fight, Danny said. The weapon's fire came from nowhere. Blue energy beams more powerful than anything in our fleet. They cut through Vorthic shields. Like they weren't even there. Admiral Jackson studied the debris field through his ship's sensors. Did you detect any unusual energy signatures during the battle? That's the strangest part, Danny replied. Our sensors detected massive energy discharges, but they couldn't pinpoint the source. It was like the weapons were firing from another dimension. Word of the Haven's Rest battle spread quickly through human space. Within hours, every news service was reporting the story of the mysterious savior that had appeared from nowhere to rescue the colony. The reports were wild and contradictory, with some claiming it was a secret human superweapon and others suggesting it was alien technology captured and turned against its creators. But the alien response was even more dramatic. Intercepted communications showed panic spreading through the Vorthic Empire. Military commanders were demanding answers about the phantom ship that had destroyed an entire battle fleet. Some alien leaders were calling for an immediate retreat from human space. Kate Morrison called another emergency meeting at Luna Station. This time, she included Captain Rodriguez in the briefing via video linked from Haven's Rest. Ladies and gentlemen, Kate began, today we witness something that changes everything. The phantom ship that the aliens have been talking about is real. It saved Haven's Rest and drove off a Vorthic battle fleet. Admiral Jackson raised his hand. But we still don't know what it is or who controls it. That's correct, Kate replied. We know it exists, we know it's incredibly powerful, and we know it's protecting human colonies. But we have no idea where it comes from or why it's helping us. Captain Rodriguez spoke from the screen. Admiral, I've been thinking about this all day. The aliens call it the Phantom Ship of Terra. They think it belongs to us. But what if they're right? What if it is a human ship, but it's so classified that even we don't know about it? Kate shook her head. I've checked with every intelligence agency, every Black Project division, every experimental program. Nothing. Maybe, Rodriguez continued, the people who built it wanted to keep it secret from everyone, including us. Maybe they're operating independently. The room fell silent as everyone considered this possibility. Could there be humans out there with technology so advanced that they could build invisible warships? And if so, why were they keeping it secret from their own people? Kate looked at the star charts showing the locations of recent alien attacks. In every case where the phantom ship had appeared, human lives had been saved. Whatever it was, and whoever controlled it, the phantom was on humanity's side. But Kate knew that wouldn't be enough. The alien alliance was growing stronger, and they would eventually bring enough ships to overwhelm even the Phantom's incredible power. Humanity needed to find this mysterious guardian and convince it to work with the official military forces. Problem was finding something that didn't want to be found. Admiral Kate Morrison stood before the massive holographic display in Luna Station's war room, studying reports of Phantom ship sightings from across human space. In the 3 weeks since Haven's rest, the mysterious vessel had appeared 7 more times, always arriving just in time to save human ships or colonies from alien attacks. "We need to find this ship," Kate said to the assembled officers. "Whatever it is, whoever's controlling it, they're the most effective weapon we have against the alien alliance." Captain Amy Foster stepped forward. She was the commanding officer of the UES Discovery, a deep space exploration vessel equipped with the most advanced sensors in the fleet. "Admiral, I'd like to volunteer my ship for a search mission." Kate nodded. "What do you have in mind, Captain?" "The Phantom always appears near the edge of human space, in remote areas where our colonies are most vulnerable," Amy explained. "If we study the patterns of its appearances, we might be able to predict where it will show up next." Commander Lisa Warren activated the tactical display, showing the locations of all recent Phantom sightings. "There does seem to be a pattern," she observed. "The ship appears to be operating from somewhere in the Outer Rim territories." Kate made her decision quickly. "Captain Foster, you'll take the Discovery and a small task force to investigate these sightings. Your mission is to make contact with the Phantom ship and convince them to coordinate with our forces." Amy selected her team carefully. Dr. Paul Martinez was a xenobiologist who specialized in alien technology and might be able to understand how the Phantom's advanced systems worked. Dr. Helen Brooks was a quantum physicist whose theories about parallel dimensions and alternate spacetime might explain how the ship could appear and disappear so mysteriously. Lieutenant Sam Taylor was a communications expert who could help establish contact with the Phantom's crew. The Discovery departed Luna Station with 2 escort ships, the UES Ranger and the UE Scout. They headed for the Void Nebula, a dangerous region of space where several Phantom sightings had been reported. The nebula was known for its ability to interfere with sensors and communications, making it the perfect hiding place for a ship that didn't want to be found. As they approached the nebula, Dr. Brooks monitored her quantum detection equipment. "Captain, I'm picking up some very unusual readings," she reported. "The quantum field in this area is extremely unstable. It's almost like space itself is being bent and twisted." "Could that explain how the Phantom ship disappears?" Amy asked. "Possibly," Helen replied. "If they have some way to shift partially out of our normal spacetime, they could become effectively invisible to our sensors." The 3 ships entered the nebula carefully, following energy trails that Dr. Martinez had detected in the area. The swirling clouds of gas and cosmic dust made navigation difficult, and their sensors were working at barely 10% efficiency. "Is like flying blind," complained Lieutenant Sam Taylor. "How are we supposed to find anything in here?" "Keep monitoring all frequencies," Amy ordered. "If there's anyone out here, they might be listening to our communications." They had been searching for 6 hours when Dr. Brooks suddenly called out in excitement. "Captain, you need to see this. I'm detecting a massive quantum distortion about 50 kilometers ahead." Amy moved to Helen's station and looked at the readings. The numbers were incredible. What could cause this kind of distortion? "Something very large is manipulating space-time itself," Helen explained. "The energy requirements would be enormous. This is technology far beyond anything we have." As they moved closer to the distortion, their sensors began to pick up the outline of something huge. It appeared to be a space station, but its design was unlike anything in human databases. The structure was sleek and flowing, as if it had been grown rather than built. My God, Amy whispered. How long has this been here? Before anyone could answer, their communication system crackled to life. A calm male voice spoke in perfect English. Human vessels, you have entered restricted space. State your intentions. Amy quickly activated the ship's main communication system. This is Captain Amy Foster of the UES Discovery. We're searching for the ship that has been protecting human colonies. We want to establish contact and coordinate our efforts. There was a long pause before the voice responded. Captain Foster, you are persistent. Very well. You may dock with our station, but only your ship. The escorts will remain at a safe distance. Amy turned to her crew. You heard him. Send word to the Ranger and Scout to hold position. We're going. In alone. As the Discovery approached the mysterious station, a docking bay opened in its side. The bay was enormous, easily large enough to hold a dozen ships the size of the Discovery. As they moved inside, Amy could see that the station's technology was far more advanced than anything she had ever seen. They were met at the airlock by a tall man in a military uniform that Amy didn't recognize. He appeared to be in his 40s, with graying hair and intense blue eyes. His uniform bore no insignia or rank markers. Captain Foster, I'm Commander Nick Adams, he said, extending his hand. Welcome to Sanctuary Station. Amy shook his hand, studying his face. There was something familiar about him, but she couldn't place it. Commander Adams, we need to talk. The Alien Alliance is planning something big, and we need your help to stop them. Nick nodded grimly. We know. We've been monitoring their communications for months. Come, there's someone you need to meet. He led Amy and her team through corridors that seemed to pulse with energy. The walls were made of some kind of material that shifted and flowed like liquid metal. Dr. Brooks was taking readings with her instruments. Her eyes wide with amazement, they entered a large chamber filled with sophisticated equipment and displays, showing star charts of the entire galaxy. An older woman with short gray hair stood with her back to them, studying a holographic projection of recent alien fleet movements. Dr. Grace Campbell, Nick said, our guests have arrived. The woman turned around, and Amy gasped. She recognized Dr. Campbell from history books. She was supposed to be dead, killed in a research accident 20 years ago. Dr. Campbell? Amy said in shock. But you died in the quantum experiments on Mars Station. Grace smiled sadly. That's what we wanted everyone to believe. The official records show that Dr. Grace Campbell and her entire research team were killed when our experimental reactor exploded. In reality, we faked our deaths and disappeared. Dr. Brooks stepped forward, her voice filled with excitement. You're the physicist who developed the theoretical framework for quantum phase technology. Your work was decades ahead of its time. Was, and still is, Grace replied. What you see here is the result of 20 years of secret research. We've been developing weapons and technology to protect humanity from threats that the official military couldn't handle. Amy looked around the chamber, trying to process what she was hearing. You've been working in secret for 20 years? Why didn't you share your technology with the Terran Defense Force? Nick answered for Grace. Because the politicians and bureaucrats would have destroyed it. They would have argued about who controlled it, how to use it, whether it was ethical. Meanwhile, the aliens would have wiped out every human colony in the galaxy. Grace activated a holographic display showing the Phantom ship. Amy stared in wonder at the vessel's incredible design. It was sleek and deadly, with weapon systems that seemed to bend space around them. This is the U's Revenant, Grace explained. She's the first and only quantum phase warship ever built. The ship can exist partially outside normal space-time, making her effectively invisible to conventional sensors. Dr. Martinez examined the holographic display with his xenobiology instruments. The hull design incorporates alien technology. Doesn't it? Very good, Grace replied. We've been studying captured alien ships for years, reverse engineering their best technology and combining it with our own innovations. Amy felt a mixture of admiration and anger. You've had this incredible technology for years, and you never shared it with us? Do you have any idea how many lives could have been saved? Grace's expression became serious. Captain, do you have any idea how many lives we have saved? The Revenant has prevented dozens of alien attacks that your official forces never even knew about. We've been humanity's secret guardian for 2 decades. Nick activated another display showing alien fleet movements. The situation is worse than your intelligence reports indicate. The Alien Alliance isn't just planning to attack human colonies. They're preparing to assault Earth itself. Amy felt her blood run cold. When? Based on their communication patterns and fleet positions, we estimate they'll make their move within the next month, Grace replied. They're assembling the largest armada in galactic history. Over 500 ships from all 3 alien races. Dr. Brooks looked up from her quantum readings. Captain, the energy signatures I'm detecting here are incredible. How are you powering all this technology? Grace and Nick exchanged a look. Grace sighed before answering. That's the problem, Dr. Brooks. The quantum phase technology comes with a price. The longer we use it, the more it disconnects us from normal space-time. We're slowly becoming ghosts ourselves. Amy stared at them in horror. What do you mean? The crew of the Revenant, everyone who works with the quantum systems. We're gradually phasing out of reality, Nick E. Captain Amy Foster spent the next 3 days aboard Sanctuary Station, learning about the incredible technology that Dr. Grace Campbell and her team had developed. Each new discovery amazed her more than the last, but also filled her with sadness. As she understood the terrible price the Phantom crew was paying, Grace led Amy through the station's medical bay, where dozens of people lay in special chambers filled with glowing blue energy. These are quantum stabilization pods, Grace explained. They slow down the phasing process, but they can't stop it completely. Amy looked at the faces of the people in the pods. They seemed peaceful, but she could see that their bodies were flickering slightly, becoming transparent around the edges. How long do they have? Some of them have been phasing for years, Grace replied sadly. They can still function, but they exist more in quantum space than in our reality. They're the ones who crew the Revenant during its most dangerous missions. They moved to another section of the medical bay, where Amy met Dr. Tony Webb, the captain of the Hughes Revenant. He was a man in his early 50s with kind eyes and a steady presence that reminded Amy of the best military officers she had known. But when she shook his hand, her fingers passed partially through his, as if he were becoming a ghost. Captain Foster, Tony said with a smile, Grace tells me you want to help us save Earth. Amy nodded, trying not to stare at his flickering form. Captain Webb, your ship is incredible, but you can't face an entire alien armada alone. We don't plan to, Tony replied. We've been working on a strategy that combines our quantum technology with the firepower of the regular fleet. But it will require perfect timing and coordination. Grace activated a holographic display showing the alien fleet positions. The Armada is assembling in the Kepler system, about 50 light-years from Earth. They're using it as a staging area before their final assault. Amy studied the display. The alien forces were massive beyond anything she had ever seen. Hundreds of Vorthic battleships, swarms of Zephyrian fighters, and dozens of the mysterious Nexus energy vessels. How do we fight something like that? Tony stepped forward, his form becoming more solid as he focused his concentration. We don't fight them head-on. We use our advantage. They can't see us coming. He changed the display to show a detailed battle plan. The Revenant will phase directly into the center of their formation and target their command ships. While there, dealing with us, the regular fleet will attack from multiple directions, dividing their forces. Dr. Paul Martinez, who had been studying the alien technology displays, looked up with concern. Captain Webb, the aliens have been adapting to your tactics. Their latest ships have quantum detection systems that might be able to track you. Grace nodded grimly. We know. That's why this will likely be our final mission. The Revenant can probably make one more attack before the quantum systems overload completely. Amy felt a chill run down her spine. What happens when the systems overload? We disappear forever, Tony said simply. We'll phase completely out of normal space-time. But if we can take out their command structure first, it might give humanity the chance it needs to win. Over the next day, Amy met the other members of the Revenant's crew. Pilot Sarah King was a young woman whose reflexes had been enhanced by quantum exposure, allowing her to maneuver the ship through space-time in ways that should have been impossible. Weapons Officer Carl Davis had spent so much time connected to the ship's quantum targeting systems that he could predict enemy movements before they happened. Engineer Maria Santos kept the ship's impossible technology running through sheer force of will and deep understanding of quantum mechanics. All of them were phasing out of reality, becoming living ghosts, but they continued their mission with dedication that amazed Amy. They had given up everything to protect humanity from threats that most people didn't even know existed. Why? Amy asked Tony during one of their planning sessions. Why did you all sacrifice so much for people who don't even know you exist? Tony looked out through the station's transparent walls at the stars beyond. Because someone had to. The aliens were coming whether we were ready or not. The politicians would have spent years arguing about the best response while colonies burned. We couldn't let that happen. Sarah King, who was barely 25, but looked like she carried the weight of decades, added, My family lived on one of the first colonies that the aliens attacked. By the time I got the news, everyone was dead. I joined this project so no one else would have to go through what I did. Amy began to understand the deep bonds that held the Phantom crew together. They were people who had lost everything and chosen to sacrifice themselves, so others wouldn't experience the same losses. Grace showed Amy the station's communication center, where they had been monitoring alien transmissions for years. Lieutenant Sam Taylor, Amy's communications expert, worked with the station's team to decode the latest intelligence. The aliens are definitely planning something big, Sam reported. They're calling it Operation Final Solution. They want to destroy Earth and end human expansion permanently. The intercepted messages were chilling. The Alien Alliance had decided that humanity was too dangerous to be allowed to survive. They planned to attack Earth with overwhelming force, destroying not just the military fleets, but the planet itself. When? Amy asked. Grace checked the latest data. Based on their fleet movements, they'll begin their assault in 12 days. That gives us just enough time to coordinate with Admiral Morrison and prepare our own response. Amy activated the communication system to contact Luna Station. Admiral Kate Morrison appeared on screen, and Amy could see the relief in her eyes. Captain Foster, thank God you're alive, Kate said. We lost contact with you 3 days ago. What's your status? Admiral, I've found the Phantom ship, Amy replied. And you're not going to believe what I've discovered. Amy spent the next hour explaining everything to Admiral Morrison. She told her about Sanctuary Station Dr. Campbell's secret research project, the UES Revenant, and the crew that was slowly dying to protect humanity. Kate listened in amazement and growing horror as she understood the sacrifice that these people had made. My God, Kate said finally, they've been protecting us for 20 years, and we never knew. Admiral, there's more, Amy continued. The Alien Alliance is planning to attack Earth in 12 days. They're bringing over 500 ships, Kate's face went pale. 500 ships? We can muster maybe 60 vessels to defend Earth. That's not enough. Grace stepped into view of the communication system. Admiral Morrison, we have a plan that might work, but it will require perfect coordination between our forces and yours. Kate stared at Grace in shock. Dr. Campbell? But you're supposed to be dead. I've been dead to the world for 20 years, Admiral, Grace replied. But I'm not dead yet. And neither is humanity if we can work together. Tony joined the conversation, his flickering form barely visible on the communication system. Admiral, the Revenant can phase directly into their command formation and create chaos in their ranks. But we'll need your fleet to attack from multiple directions while they're distracted. Kate studied the battle plans that Amy transmitted. To Luna Station, this is incredibly risky. If the timing is off by even a few seconds, both our forces could be destroyed. Admiral, Amy said, these people have been risking everything for humanity for 20 years. They're asking us to trust them one more time. Kate made her decision. Very well. Captain Foster, you'll remain with the Phantom crew and act as our liaison. We'll coordinate our attack for the day before the aliens plan to assault Earth. As the communication ended, Amy felt the weight of responsibility settling on her shoulders. In 9 days, humanity would face its greatest test. The Phantom crew would make their final sacrifice, and the regular fleet would fight for the survival of their species. Grace placed a hand on Amy's shoulder, her touch feeling distant and strange due to the quantum phasing. Captain, there's something else you should know. If our plan works and we save Earth, the technology will die with us. The quantum systems are too dangerous for normal humans to use. Amy realized that even if they won, humanity would lose its greatest protectors. The Phantoms would fade away into quantum space, taking their incredible technology with them. They would become truly legendary, remembered only in stories and military reports. Is there no way to save you? Amy asked. Tony smiled sadly. We were never meant to be saved, Captain. We were meant to save others. That's enough for us. As Amy prepared for the coming battle, she understood that she was witnessing something extraordinary. These people had chosen to become legends, sacrificing their lives and their very existence to protect a species that would never know their names. In 9 days, the Phantom ship would make its final appearance, and Amy would be there to witness the end of the greatest secret in human history. The alien armada appeared at the edge of the solar system, like a dark cloud blotting out the stars. Admiral Kate Morrison stood in the command center of Luna Station, watching the tactical display as hundreds of red dots materialized near Pluto's orbit. Her hands trembled slightly as she counted the enemy ships. Final count, Admiral, Captain Jake Sullivan reported grimly. 327 ships. Vorthic battleships, Zephyrian fighter swarms, and Nexus energy vessels. It's the largest military force in recorded history. Kate activated the fleet-wide communication system. Every human warship in the solar system was positioned according to the battle plan she had developed with Captain Tony Webb and Dr. Grace Campbell. 62 human vessels against more than 300 alien ships. The odds were impossible. But they had one advantage the aliens didn't know about. All ships, this is Admiral Morrison, Kate announced. Today we fight not just for Earth, but for the survival of our entire species. You all know the plan. When the Phantom appears, we strike with everything we have. Aboard the U's Revenant, hidden in the space between dimensions, Captain Tony Webb made his final preparations. His crew of ghosts moved through their duties with quiet determination. They all knew this would be their last mission, their final chance to save the world they could no longer truly be part of. Quantum phase systems at maximum power, reported engineer Maria Santos, her form so transparent now that she was barely visible. We've got maybe 30 minutes before complete. Overload. Pilot Sarah King checked her controls, her quantum-enhanced reflexes ready to guide the ship through the impossible maneuvers that would be required. Navigation systems locked on the alien command formation. I can phase us directly into there. Center. Weapons Officer Carl Davis activated the ship's incredible arsenal. The Revenant's quantum weapons could tear holes in space itself, but using them at full power would accelerate the crew's phasing process beyond the point of no return. All weapons charged and ready, Carl reported. This is going to be one hell of a light show. Captain Amy Foster stood on the Revenant's bridge, the only person there who still existed fully in normal spacetime. She was humanity's witness to this final sacrifice, and she felt the weight of that responsibility. Tony turned to his crew one last time. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been an honor serving with you. Today we become the legends that the aliens already think we are. The alien fleet began moving toward Earth, confident in their overwhelming numbers. Their communications, intercepted by human intelligence, spoke of the final destruction of humanity and the end of human expansion into space. They had no idea that death was about to appear in their midst. Phase drive activated, Sarah announced, taking us into quantum space. The Revenant began to shift out of normal reality, becoming a ghost ship crewed by ghosts. Space around them bent and twisted as they moved between dimensions, traveling faster than light without actually moving at all. On Luna Station, Kate watched the alien formation approaching Mars orbit. "Where are they?" she whispered. "Come on, Tony, we're running out of time." Suddenly, space itself seemed to tear open in the center of the alien armada. The U's Revenant materialized like a nightmare made real, its hull glowing with quantum energy, its weapons already firing. The first alien ship to die was the Vorthik command vessel, a massive battleship that served as the fleet's flagship. The Revenant's quantum torpedoes tore through its shields and hull like they were made of paper, causing the entire ship to implode in a brilliant flash of light. "Now," Kate shouted, "all ships, attack!" The human fleet struck from every direction. Admiral Roy Jackson led the Fifth Fleet in a direct assault on the Vorthik ships. Captain Danny Rodriguez and his group targeted the Zephyrian swarms. The remaining human vessels focused their fire on the mysterious Nexus energy beings, but it was the Revenant that dominated the battlefield. The Phantom ship moved through the alien formation like an angel of death, appearing and disappearing. At will, its weapons fired from multiple locations simultaneously as it phased in and out of normal spacetime. "Target the Phantom," alien commanders screamed in their various languages. "Destroy the ghost ship." Hundreds of alien weapons turned toward the Revenant, but most of their shots passed harmlessly through empty space as the ship existed only partially in their reality. When alien fire did connect, it seemed to do no damage to the quantum shifted. Hull. Tony Webb stood on his bridge, his form now so transparent that he was more energy than matter. "Target their command ships," he ordered. "Break their coordination." The Revenant's weapons found target after target. Alien command vessels exploded in chains of brilliant fire as quantum energy tore them apart from the inside. Without their commanders, the alien formation began to fall apart. Captain Amy Foster watched in amazement as the Phantom crew fought their final battle. They moved with perfect coordination, each member knowing exactly what to do without speaking. They had become something beyond human, existing in a state between life and death. "Quantum systems at critical overload," Maria Santos reported, her voice barely audible. "We've got maybe 5 more minutes." On the tactical display, Amy could see that the battle was turning. The alien fleet, despite its superior numbers, was losing coordination as their command structure collapsed. Human ships were pressing their advantage, focusing their fire on the confused and scattered enemy vessels, but the aliens were adapting. Their quantum detection systems finally locked onto the Revenant's shifting position. Concentrated fire from dozens of ships struck the Phantom vessel, causing its quantum field to fluctuate wildly. "Hull breach on Deck 7, Carl Davis reported. "Quantum containment failing in sections 4 through 9. Tony made a decision that Amy knew was coming but still broke her heart. "Set course for the main Nexus command vessel," he ordered. "We're going to ram them, sir?" Sarah asked, though she was already adjusting their heading. "If we're going to phase out anyway, let's take their leadership with us," Tony explained. "One final surprise they'll never see coming." The Revenant accelerated toward the largest Nexus vessel, a crystalline ship that pulsed with energy. They, alien commanders, realized what was happening and tried to retreat. But the Phantom ship was moving too fast and phasing too unpredictably for them to escape. Amy felt tears running down her cheeks as she watched the crew prepare for their final sacrifice. These people had given everything for humanity, and now they were giving their last moments of existence to ensure victory. "It's been an honor, Captain Foster," Tony said, turning to Amy one last time. "Tell them we kept our promise." The Revenant phased directly into the heart of the Nexus command ship. For a moment, both vessels occupied the same space, existing in a quantum superposition that should have been impossible. Then reality caught up with them. The explosion tore a hole in space itself. The Nexus command vessel was completely destroyed, and the Revenant vanished into a burst of quantum energy that lit up the entire solar system. Where the Phantom ship had been, there was now only empty space and the expanding shockwave of their sacrifice. The loss of the Nexus commanders broke the Alien Alliance's coordination completely. Without unified leadership, the three alien races began fighting among themselves, each trying to retreat while blaming the others for the disaster. The mighty armada that had come to destroy humanity dissolved into chaos and panic. Merrill Morrison seized the opportunity. "All ships, press the attack. Drive them out of our system." The human fleet, inspired by the Phantom's sacrifice and energized by their sudden advantage, fought with desperate courage. Ship after ship of the retreating aliens fell to human weapons as they tried to escape to hyperspace. Within 6 hours, the space around Earth was clear of alien vessels. The armada that had come to end humanity's existence had been shattered and scattered. Earth was safe. Kate Morrison stood in the command center, looking at the empty space where the Revenant had made its final sacrifice. Around her, officers were celebrating humanity's greatest victory, but she felt only sadness for the heroes who would never be properly honored. Captain Amy Foster returned to Luna Station 3 days later, carrying with her the complete records of the Phantom project. She met with Admiral Morrison to give her final report on the crew that had saved humanity. "They're gone," Amy said simply. "The entire crew phased out of existence when they destroyed the Nexus command ship. They died saving us, just like they lived." Kate nodded slowly. "What about their technology? Can we reproduce it?" Amy shook her head. Dr. Campbell was right. The quantum systems are too dangerous for normal humans. A technology died with them. We'll have to find other ways to defend ourselves. Kate made a decision that would honor the Phantom crew's memory. "Captain Foster, I'm creating a new division of fleet intelligence. Your job will be to study their methods and keep their memory alive. Future generations need to know what these people did for us." Amy accepted the assignment gladly. She spent the rest of her career documenting the story of the Phantom ship and its ghostly crew. She made sure that their names were recorded in the military archives, even though they could never be publicly honored. The Alien Alliance never recovered from their defeat at Earth. The three races blamed each other for the disaster and returned to their traditional enemy.